This video is for the OGs. A lot of people have had a ton of questions ever since I revealed that I bought my Sport Cross. You're asking about this car. So I feel the need for tweed, office reference, I don't know. I want to talk to you about why I made this decision and what's happening with the red IS. And there's not really a better way to do that aside from hopping into my Subaru STI and making a little vlog for you guys. It's been quite a long time since I've hopped in here and made a video with you guys. Let's maybe make a better angle in this. For those of you who might not know, a lot of you do, but this is actually how I started off my YouTube channel. I go around, I drive this exact car actually. This is my car that I owned in high school. I drive it around, talk to a GoPro, and I would just jabber, you know? But this time I have talking points that I want to chat with you guys about. It's no surprise that I've been known in the past for like kind of half building cars and then sort of giving up on them. And I've done my best over the past year or so to sort of turn that back around. I want to talk today about the red IS300, the one that I've been building for about 3 years now, and the new IS300 Sport Cross that I just got. For starters, I do want to clarify that I actually was originally looking for a Sport Cross when I got the red IS300. But the red one, it came at a good price. It was a manual one we found from a dealer, and I just it was an impulse buy. But with this new IS300, I am going to be swapping chassis completely and using one to make the other cool. So why am I ditching or using the red IS300 to build the Sport Cross? Before I say anything, I've owned a couple Lexuses in my life, and they are very, very picky and complex, especially the ones from like early 90s to the mid 2000s. Keep that in mind here. With this red IS300, I bought it and immediately wanted to use it, I think for not the right reasons for myself personally, but I wanted to use it for just content. And I was a little too hasty to jump into it, and I've learned my lesson from that through several different projects. I immediately jumped into trying to do a budget boosted project, which immediately backfired on me because I wanted to do a really cool forward-facing manifold, and in order to do that, I had to do a bunch of things. And obviously, if you go back, I could not finish it myself. It sat for quite a long time, and it finally ended up getting finished way later down the line once I had some shop help. And with the car, I bit off a little bit more than I could chew, which is not far-fetched from my past, but again, I'm a lot better at that now. We relocated the ECU out of the engine bay, which that's a thing with IS300s. The engine bay, for some reason, was the place that they put, and I think they did with the GS and some of the other ones around the same model, but the ECU was in the engine bay. And so in order to get a cool forward-facing manifold, I had to remove that. And I just didn't do enough research to realize that that was a terrible idea. Lexuses have what's called a body module, and a lot of cars do have that these days, but it's a separate, basically ECM unit that controls the body portion of the car, while the ECU, like the main ECU, controls the engine. So you have an engine ECU and you have a body ECU. I think it's kind of silly, but it is what it is. I don't know how much I filmed about it, but the guy I had working for me at the time basically had to take the custom tweaked harnesses that I was made and relocate the ECU to inside of the cabin, which really is not a terrible idea in theory, but because of the way that we had to do it, it just didn't work. If you look at the mess of wiring, the way that it had to be done, I guess, none of the body module worked after we got it. And I never really talked about this, and I never really made a deal about this because I was hoping to get it fixed, but I could never fix it. So the stuff that didn't work after the car was fully tuned and operational the way that you guys liked it was the blinkers, the AC, some of my radio, and some of my speakers just decided to stop working, which was really odd. My tachometer didn't work. My dash was literally a Christmas tree. And I want you guys to know that I paid several people to try and come and fix this and use the multimeter and chase like what was wrong, why it wasn't working. Oh yeah, and my headlights wouldn't work. Sometimes it's like brake lights just would like sometimes turn on. The car was so far from how I wanted to build it, ended up being a wiring nightmare. And so at its best, even though from your perspective it was a super cool car, that car was terrible. The battery constantly died. After chasing some issues that were actually, I think that was one of my workers' faults, we finally kind of figured some stuff out there, but the car like never worked correctly, and that's really why I didn't make a whole bunch of content on it. Oh, and the windows, like sometimes the windows wouldn't work. It was wild, bro. That body module, because of how it was done and the wiring job that was done, like never worked correctly again. It was a bit of a wiring nightmare. It was a mess. Again, after a bunch of people coming to try and fix it, nobody could figure it out. Zach, my other guy, figured out like the headlights and some other stuff. It just never worked correctly again, no matter who I got out there, no matter what wiring professional I brought out to look at the car, it just couldn't get fixed. And it was super frustrating for me. With all that being said, then I did a standing burnout for minutes at a time for my gender reveal for Julianne, which is now here with us, and beautiful, beautiful girl. But during the gender reveal, you guys saw that I put a rod through the side of my 2JZ, and that ended up causing, I want to say, a fuel fire or something. It was ignition outside of the block, and the engine bay caught fire. And while it didn't look like it was crazy on camera, it burned a lot of things. You can see in my engine bay in the IS300 that a lot of what was remaining of some of the important side of the body harness and some important relays and even the relay and the fuse box, like that stuff kind of got burnt up. What was already sort of a wiring mess and something that was already hard to deal with just turned into something even worse. I tried to compensate with it by just saying like, okay, let's just throw the engine and transmission that I already have in, which is a 2JZ V160. But then I thought about it for a bit and I was like, dude, why am I putting a $30,000 drivetrain in a car that is at best going to still give me a headache and be a complete wiring nightmare that I'm never going to want to drive? And so I had a couple options. I had to think, I had to brainstorm, and that's what I've been doing lately, because I have too many projects. I've wanted to consolidate. As you guys have seen for the past year or so, I've gotten rid of a lot of my cars that I don't necessarily make a bunch of content with or have a purpose for. You know that the game, you know, it's like you choose 3 celebrities, sleep with one, marry one, kill one. I sort of made that game in my head for my cars. Turn around right here because I don't even know where I'm at. I am somewhere weird. For my cars, instead of that game, it was daily one, race one, sell one. Kind of the same thing. So daily one, race one, sell one. And I was thinking about my R33, my Supra, and my IS300. My first thought was, why the hell do I even still have my IS300? I mean, I have a nice drivetrain inside of it, but what the hell am I going to do with it? And then my Supra, I'm considering doing either a giveaway or selling that because I like racing Hondas, to be completely honest. That's not actually my dream Supra, so I'm actually wanting to move on from that and then buy like the Supra that I always wanted down the line. And the R33, like, I feel like that's sort of like, kind of like this car, this STI. The R33 is a bit of a staple on the channel, and I would hate to get rid of it unless it's just for the right amount of money. And to be honest, the right amount of money for that car would just be absurd. So in my mind, I was like, dude, I want to daily the IS300. It was my favorite car to drive around. The Supra sucks to drive around, honestly. It is a race car. It always really, truly was. It was never intended to be a comfortable car that was good to drive around every day. Now, granted, some people do, that's fine, but I loved the IS300 because Lexus put a lot of thought in science and research into their suspensions. It's very all their cars are very comfortable, even with like coilovers, bags, whatever you do to them. Pretty much every Lexus in existence is comfortable to drive around, even slammed to the ground. And I was like, dude, I want an IS300 again, but I hate that I can't daily the IS because all the wiring issues. So I had an epiphany. I was like, you know what? Why not restart? I know a lot of people think that's like a criminal thing to do. I was like, why not get the chassis that I wanted, take all the amazing things that I did to the red IS300, and then put that, swap it over to the car that I actually want, that actually works, mind you, and start again. Fresh. And if I want to do a turbo build, I do it right this time instead of ruining the whole body module and making the car undrivable. So that's kind of where I'm coming from here. I'm going to end up using basically the entire IS300, the red one, using every nice part from it. I'm going to take 2 IS300s and make one ultimate IS300. The thing about the red one is it's still going to be a perfect candidate for a, you know, if somebody wants to build a race car out of it, because it needs top to bottom wiring, and that's what race cars need anyways, because you know, most likely it'll be engine swapped, have some crazy stuff in it, but really the only purpose for that car is to be a rolling shell until somebody wants to do something with it. So I'm gonna sell that car as a rolling shell. I'm gonna, like, you know, put all my stock IS parts onto the red one so that it at least rolls, and I'm gonna use my nice stuff for the, ooh, those are some ugly wheels, holy crap. Sorry, don't understand some people's taste in cars sometimes. From the TEs to all the suspension components to just some really cool authentic parts that I have for the IS, like, it would be amazing to make one badass sport cross, and that's what I wanted to do. The amount of money I might have to spend to make the wiring OEM spec literally would probably cost me in labor to just buy a new IS300. So it's like, why put myself through all of this headache just to fix a car that is not really truly the car that I really want to build? Oh, I love the way this turbo sounds. I'm finally about to get this car tuned, by the way. For me, it was a no-brainer. I think it's hard to justify it for you guys because you guys get more of a sentimental attachment to my cars than even I do. Ultimately, my biggest point in the video where I bought the IS was I'm trying to make my builds simple again. You know, there's nothing wrong with like ambition and chasing really cool, unique builds, but when all your other cars don't run, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So it's like the Barra, the Ford, the Barra and the Mustang. Like, that's what I want to pursue, but I want all of my other cars to run. If I'm going to pursue something like that, all my other stuff needs to be simple, needs to run. I want to be able to take any car and every car to any track, any weekend, and just go have fun with it, or be able to drive it any day to the store and back, you know, or take a trip with it. So it's like, for me, with all that said, it was a no-brainer. It made an unbelievable amount of sense for me to pursue the new chassis that way. Oh, that's also another just really ugly car. What's up with the red wheels today? Sorry, if that was your car, I just be talking sometimes. You know what I mean? Don't want to be hitting boost right now. I need to tune so bad. Oh, it sounds so good. Okay. Oh man, this is one situation to where I'm not just jumping into a new build with another one that's incomplete, but I'm rather taking one that can't be completed and just completing the project entirely into something that's already running and doing it on a car that I always wanted. My daily advice for you guys actually is this. A lot of people think that successful people don't ever quit, but that's not true. Successful people know when to quit. Successful people know when to ditch or to give up on something because it's no longer viable. A lot of people think that success means you have to pursue something even if it runs you into the ground. And that's one of the worst mentalities to ever have. And for me, on a lot of these cars, I've just known when to stop and say, you know what? I made some bad decisions, some hasty decisions even, and I rushed into things a little too fast. And so my ultimate goal is to revamp my entire car collection and turn it all into cars that are ultimate fun driving machines. Hey, Garen's here. That's my point for this. A lot of people just don't quite get it, and with the lack of context that I gave you guys on the last video, I felt it was necessary to kind of talk to you guys. And also, I haven't done an STI vlog in a long ass time, so there you go. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. But that's my daily advice. Listen, guys, a lot of people think that quitting is for losers. Contrary to popular belief, quitting is essential to success. You just have to know when to quit something. Use your noggin today. I'm trying to use mine. I've made some not so amazing decisions and put myself in some weird places with a lot of things just because I wanted to jump into a lot of stuff that I wasn't ready for. I'm doing my best to sort of backtrack, restart, do what I need to do to get myself back onto a track because I want to do this forever. I want to be a YouTuber. I'm always going to love cars. I'm going to do this as long as you guys let me, and I'm going to keep doing it as long as it's viable. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you guys for all your views, for following me all these years, and for being patient with me because I have learned a lot. I've grown a ton, and you know, I'm always going to be doing that. I want you guys to know that all the people that you watch, all the people that you guys are watching on YouTube or the internet, TV, whatever, like, they're people too. They're constantly evolving and changing and learning because that's life. You know what I mean? So I want to thank you for being a part of that process with me, because it's probably been a bit frustrating. I can understand from a viewer's perspective watching my stuff over the past few years for some people. And you know, I do care about you guys, because I wouldn't be here without you. Hope that you guys are excited about all the new things, because for the first time in a long time, I'm finally excited about a lot of things. And we're going to be making some big changes here pretty soon, dropping some projects for certain others, and selling some cars off for this and this, and giving myself a new fresh start so that I can enjoy life. It'll give you guys a lot of stuff to enjoy too. So I love you guys so much. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on. We also have a shift knob available at 53supply.com. Go check it out. And we got a new shirt as well, and just some other accessories. So 53supply.com, if you guys want to support the channel, it's the biggest way to help support us and keep us going. It's in the top of the description. So, wow, big kisses. Pause. Okay, see you guys.